Good morning. It's a great morning for a little writing. Hope you're feeling awake. Let's get our resistance really low and sit up nice and tall like I am. Just pedal very, very slowly. Just slowly loosening up the hips and the knees. Just letting those joints move a little bit. Keep your resistance really light and we'll just turn the legs. Slowly with light resistance, just allowing our hips to loosen up and the fluid in the knee to get spread around a little bit. As we're doing that, we can sit up nice and tall. Just practice being here in the moment, noticing our body. That's a great way to be in the moment. I love to hang my arms down like this. I notice a couple things. One is that my hips are separate from my upper body as I'm pedaling, and also that as I let my arms hang down, I feel a pull in the neck muscles. We can use this attention to the body and the muscles and how it feels as a way of quieting the mind down. Feel your belly expand as you breathe. Let's place our hands onto the handlebars. Just setting the hands on the bars as lightly as we can. Now there's going to be some weight on the bars no matter what. But let's just set them there and let the fingers be free. And now we can pay attention to make sure the shoulders are down away from the ears still, and the elbows are slightly bent. And the neck and the rest of the spine are nicely lined in a neutral position. And our weight then is settled onto the saddle. Let's slowly start to bring up our pedal speed. Keeping the resistance on the very light setting we have. Try to reach around 85 to 90 RPM. All the while tuning into the body, being aware of the sensations in the shoulders and the neck and the triceps. But also paying attention to the feeling of the pedal stroke circle. And you may notice at this point your breath is starting to pick up a little bit. rate is starting to come up just a little bit. You can try sitting up like I am, pedaling 90 RPM. It's a nice practice to emphasize the decoupling of the upper body and the lower body. Back to the handlebars when you feel okay with it. Let's accelerate our legs a little bit more now. Let's get to 90 to 95. Paying attention now to the feelings of the hips and the upper body decoupled. How the pedal stroke is driven from the lower back and the hips, and how you're scraping mud as you come through the bottom of the pedal stroke. You feel that sensation in the ball of your foot. Finally, let's bring our leg speed up to maybe 100 RPM. See how smoothly you can do this. Challenge at high pedal speeds like this is keeping the hips steady on the saddle. There's a tendency to want to bounce, especially if you're on a fixed gear spin bike with that weight coming around and propelling the leg around. It tends to lift the hips off the saddle a little bit. Slow your legs down, slow them down. Keep pedaling but slowly now. Let's sit up nice and tall again. Shake out your arms. Notice what your breathing's doing at the moment. It should be elevated from when we started. Your legs should have a sense of warmth in them now. You should feel more fluid. Your pedal stroke should feel more supple. All these wonderful cues from the body we can pay attention to. Returning to your handlebars now. As always, check your position, check any tension in the arms or shoulders. Bring your legs up to 90 RPM. And now we're going to add in some resistance. Add in so it feels like we're in a gear on our bike, where we're on a flat road, but we're at exercise level. So we're no longer just, sightseeing, trying to keep the bike moving. We're moving it with intention now. Just the slightest bit of thinking in your head about, this is a little bit challenging. Just a little. That's what we're going for. This is a perfect time to notice changes in the sensations of the muscles of the legs, or the increase in your breathing. My heart rate is picking up, I can feel it. My legs feel kind of a weird warmth. It's hard to find words to describe it. But it's also changing. If you don't feel your breath picking up now, make sure you're at 90 RPM and have enough resistance to cause that to happen. If you feel like you're having a hard time holding 90 RPM, reduce your resistance. Now take a deep breath from a relaxed belly. Let's bring our leg speed up to 100 RPM, keeping the resistance the same. And of course, this is going to increase the power output of the muscles. This will be harder. They'll ask for more oxygen, nutrients. That's going to increase your blood flow, your heart rate. Your breathing will pick up to supply more oxygen. Almost immediate increase in my breathing, coming up to 100 RPM. You probably hear it. Now slow your legs back down to 90 RPM. Noticing what happened to your breathing and heart rate during that 100 RPM piece. I'm going to sit up for just a second, holding everything else the same. Just shake out my arms and shoulders because I was feeling a little tension in the shoulders. Then I just return to the handlebars. So you can hear my breathing compared to yours. Just the beginnings of sweat on my forehead now. Meanwhile, my muscles' feelings are changing. Always adjust your resistance. That's you paying attention to your body. That's body awareness. That's good. We want to be able to hold this 90 RPM, but it's a bit of a challenge. It's causing increased breathing. It's causing sweat to slowly start to form. It's a perfect time to tune into the body. Relax the shoulders. Soften your hands. You might want to use visualization now. When I do, I close my eyes and I just imagine a road I know really well. I try to see it in my mind's eye. I try to hear the sounds around me. We've got maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes left of this. Adjust your resistance accordingly. You should be able to think about that and go, okay, I can finish that. But you should also think, that'll be a little bit of a challenge. Notice what's happening with your breathing now. If you have a heart rate monitor, maybe take a glance at that. I can feel some tiredness now coming into the legs. I really feel the hamstrings pulling through the bottom. Noticing the sweat now on the forehead. Perfect. These long meditative sections will cause you to notice that your mind is wandering. And don't beat yourself up about it. The fact that you're noticing your mind is wandering is a very good thing. When you notice it, see if you can come back to your breathing, your hands on the bars, the sensation in the muscles. I can tell you my legs are starting to struggle a little bit with the rhythm. In 3, and 2, and 1. Slow your legs down. Oh, my breath is higher than I thought it was. So I took my resistance down even more. I slowed my legs down. I'm just sitting up all nice and tall. I'm just noticing. And now I'm just putting a number on my out-of-breathness on a scale of 1 to 10. Just a number. 1, you just woke up and your breathing is slow. 10, you can't say a single word because you're breathing so hard. I was more out of breath than I thought while we were doing that. Go ahead and take a drink of water now. Shake your arms out. That was beautiful. Now, As you drink your water, let your legs recover a little bit. We're going to do a climbing section. And it'll be extended. So it's not a 1 block hill. It's not a 2 block hill. It's a half a mile. So when we come to these kinds of hills, we will, in the very beginning, notice that it's uncomfortable. And yet we stay with it. That's the beauty of hill climbing. We challenge ourselves and we fight through the doubt that is inevitable at the start of every hill. That's one of the real benefits of climbing a hill. Then you feel really good when you get to the top. Alright, we're going to make this a very meditative hill. Set up a cadence in around 60 to 70 range. We'll add resistance that feels like in the seated position it's difficult to maintain that cadence. And then we'll settle in for a little bit, and then we'll come out of the saddle 2 or 3 times to get to the top of the hill. If you feel nervous, if you feel like, oh my gosh, it's normal for a hill. I feel that way. I know these hills around here. Every time I get to the base of it, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I'm always happy I did it at the top. Okay, you ready? Set up your cadence in the 60 to 70 range. Add resistance. Now I want you to look at my hips and also look at my upper body. You'll see a torquing motion now. It tells you I put on a lot of resistance. And that's my back and lower back and glutes and hips. Driving over the top. Just before the quads kick in. Place my hands to the middle of the handlebars now, which just gives me a naturally more upright posture. And that in turn helps drive through the hips more effectively. Really makes for powerful climbing. I intentionally start thinking about relaxing my belly when I'm climbing and breathing deeply from that belly. What's your breath doing right now? Can you release any more tension in your shoulders? Is that possible? You ready to stand for the first time? Remember, we add massive resistance before we stand, and then we bring our body weight into it. Let's stand in 2 and 1. Add that resistance in, stand into it. Hold that same cadence or something close to it. Keep your hands light on the bars, tall chest. Ease it back down, back into seated climbing. Now this part is challenging because we just tired the legs out a lot standing. The challenge is to keep this rhythm. Remember, we can just look 5-10 feet ahead. Let's stand again in 3 and 2 and 1. Crank it, rise into it, drive your body weight through the glutes. And back to seated climbing. Almost there now. Beautiful. Dial your resistance back down to light. On a scale of 1 to 10. My breathing is now 8 from that. I can feel my heart pounding. Nice one. Remember at the beginning of that climb? Oh boy, here we go. We did a long climb. And we stayed with it. Beautifully done. I'm just adjusting my resistance to something exceptionally light. Just bringing my legs up to 90 RPM because I like to spin that swollen, heavy feeling out of my legs after a climb. Go ahead and join me in doing that. Light resistance, 90 RPM. We're just lightly contracting the muscles. Facilitate blood flow through the muscles of the legs and reestablish our smoothness in the pedal stroke. You'll notice a change in the feelings, the muscles. You'll definitely notice a change. That's part of paying attention to your body. As a bike racer, I had to pay attention to my legs and how they were feeling. I had to choose gears for different situations, and I had to understand how long can I hold this. This is doable. If not, change gears. Alright, my legs feel smooth again. And now this feels really easy. So we're going to be on a flat road now. And we're going to go 1 minute at a really hard gear. When we choose that gear, it's going to feel like we probably couldn't do this for 3 minutes, but 1 minute, doable, at about 90 RPM. So again, 1 minute on a hard gear that feels like we couldn't do it 3 minutes at 90 RPM in 3 and 2 and 1. Add that in. To yourself, could I do this 3 minutes? The answer should be, I do not think so. Now is a very good time to apply those techniques we know so well, which is to just Relax the shoulders, relax the arms, maybe shake an arm out. Kinds of efforts, you'll absolutely feel the hips pushing you over the top, and you'll definitely feel the calves scraping through the bottom. Two beautiful body cues to tune into. All right, slow your legs, take your resistance down for just a second. Note where your breathing is. Perfectly acceptable. Let your legs recover a little bit right now. Integrate that last experience. Think to yourself, was I in the ballpark where I could do this for a minute, which we did? Would 2 minutes more be very difficult or impossible? We're looking for that feeling, and it will be different. Amounts of resistance for me than it is for you, but the feeling is the same. And I had that feeling. I definitely had that feeling. All right. Let's come down to our handlebars, bring our legs up to 90 RPM again. Let's settle back into that same exact kind of effort. If it feels comfortable to you, it's a nice time to close the eyes. Just feel the body working, paying attention to the belly expanding, maybe tracing down from the base of your skull down the spine with awareness. Slow your legs down again and reduce your resistance. Just turning the legs slowly, allowing the breath to recover a little bit from that. Those are wonderful opportunities to really tune in, to really come to know ourselves is what it is. And to build up that mental strength, that self-efficacy, that we can do this. I can choose to do it, and I can stay with it. I can accomplish it. It builds a sense of efficacy. I can do this. Keeping your resistance extra light. Let's come back up into, 85 RPM or so. Nice and light. Nice and easy. We're going to do a series of sprints. And it just occurred to me, if your sit bones are sore or tired, you're absolutely welcome to stand up for a second, or even just to stretch your calves, which I actually need. Oh, that feels good. We're going to do a series of sprints. First one will be 5 seconds. Then recover a little. Next one will be 10 seconds. Then recover a little. The last one will be 15 seconds. Then we'll go into cool down recovery. Let's remind ourselves that a sprint is 100 to 110 RPM with resistance such that you couldn't hold that for 45 seconds. So we're not going to be completely push ourselves to the limit here, because it's an effort that ultimately we could hold 45 seconds if we absolutely had to. It's just that even 5, 10, 15 seconds is very challenging. All right, let's get ready for our first one. Set your body into a beautiful position. Set your intention. Take a deep breath. In 3, 2, 1. Accelerate the legs to 100 or so. Get that heavy resistance. And reduce your resistance. Slow your legs down. Take a few deep breaths. Notice how your heart rate or your breathing increases even after you've slowed your legs down. And reduce the resistance. Alright, you ready for our next one? It'll be 10 seconds. In 3, 2, and 1. Accelerate your legs, add the resistance. And slow your legs, reduce your resistance. Again, notice the breath. One more to go. On this last one, let's do everything we can to focus on keeping the hips steady, powerful, but steady, and the shoulders down, and the hands not grasping the bar in a really heavy way. All right. In 3, and 2, and 1. Last sprint, 15 seconds. And now let's slow our legs way down. There's no way I could have done that 45 seconds. Just pedaling easily now. We're into recovery. Our goal now is to allow the heart rate to slow and the breathing to come back towards normal, and also to pay attention to that happening. attention now to the breath coming back to normal, the heart rate slowing. Resistance is very light, pedal speed is slow. And we're intentionally slowing the legs down even more in order to take the work out of the muscles. Let's let our legs come to a stop. Take a couple of deep breaths as we sit still and notice the activation of the body and the relaxation in the mind. Let's stand up together and put our feet at the 3 and 9 o'clock position, where we let the heels drop. And we feel a stretch in the calves. Rotate the back foot towards the front. And again, drop the heels. Let's swing a leg off the bike and grab one of the heels and just pull forward to feel a stretch in the quadriceps. Let's stretch the other leg, quadriceps. Oh. Now let's stretch our hamstrings. Use the top bar of your bike or the handlebars in the saddle and just hold a steady hamstring stretch. Leg. Beautiful ride. Have a lovely day. Thank you for being here. See you next time. I'll leave the music going for a little bit for you just to center.